Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the back doors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Sci-Fi Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and first off, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Yeah, I know it was almost a week ago, but, this is a Wednesday podcast, and so it's been almost a week since Thanksgiving, and I just thought I would say I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Or not, whatever. I hope if you had a 4-day weekend, wonderful. If you didn't have a 4-day weekend, I still hope you found time to do the things that you like to do and are traditional for you on Thanksgiving. So at any rate, we're here to talk about sci-fi and, not necessarily sci-fi Thanksgiving, although there's some sci-fi, some Thanksgiving related, sci-fi episodes out there. I would love to know your favorite. You can tell me in the comments. That would be cool. The first one that comes to my mind is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Thanksgiving episode for so many reasons, including syphilis. Have I already said that on this podcast? I feel like I have. If I have, I apologize, but it just makes me laugh. Not syphilis in general, just that episode. I'm going to move on because let's just move on. All right. Sci-fi news. What is going on in the world of sci-fi? Well, one thing that has me quite excited has to do with Doctor Who and the new season of Doctor Who. I feel like we've been waiting forever. It's been over a year. Has it been 2 years? It's been a long time since, let's see, it was New Year's Day 2018, is that correct? I don't think it was 2019. But then again, all of my days run together, so I could be remembering that incorrectly. At any rate, there is a new season of Doctor Who. The trailer has been out for a while, and now we also have the release date for that season. This, of course, is the second season with our female doctor. If you were a little weirded out by that, I know some people were, but hopefully you're used to it by now. I quite like her. Anyway, this is season 12, at least, of the new Doctors. If you know that Doctor Who goes back to the 40s and was a radio program and all that, it's much more than season 12, but this is for the new Doctors, season 12 of the new Doctors. And, the first season with Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who, this one is also premiering on January 1st. So we're having, New Year's Day premieres or New Year's Day specials instead of Christmas specials. I'm not really sure why. I quite like the Doctor Who Christmas specials. But the January 1st episode is part 1 of a 2-part story called Spyfall. And part 2 will be arriving on Sunday, January 5th. They are both, the first part is premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States. Presumably the second part is also premiering at 8 p.m., but you shouldn't, you know what they say about assuming, and you probably shouldn't presume either. But that's going to be the Doctor Who regular time slot going forward. Now, if you are a, Doctor Who fan, you might be interested to know that BBC and BBC America are teaming up with Fathom Events for a one-time only screening of both parts of Spyfall on the big screen, followed by a live Q&A with Whittaker, Cole, and Gil. That's the Doctor, Yasmin, and let's see. Yasmin and Cole. Ryan, I knew that. From the Paley Center for Media in New York. And these showings will be held at 600 theaters in the U.S. on January 5th. So you can still watch the first part on January 1st and then go and watch the both of them together in theaters on the big screen. This isn't the first time that they have done Doctor Who on the big screen. So if you are a fan, you should definitely check and see if there is a showing near you. Spyfall features guest appearances from Stephen Fry and Sir Lenny Henry, CBE, while it has also been revealed that the upcoming season will feature appearances by Goran Visnik and Robert Glenister. Some of them can be spotted in the trailer that has already been released. While Season 11 was comprised solely of standalone episodes, Season 12 will see the return of multi-part stories, starting with Spyfall and the Christmas special. Last season featured a New Year's special instead. Oh, so there will be a Christmas special. Just throwing that out there. London's Daily Mirror reports that the first new episode is one of the most ambitious ever attempted, and quoted the BBC source as saying, "It's going to be huge. The scale is just epic. No one will be disappointed." Ooh, absolute. No one will be disappointed. Somebody's going to be disappointed. You know, there's that one person out there who's going to have something grumpy to say. At any rate, I am excited for this new season. It's been too long, and I want to see how this new Doctor continues to progress and how this relationship with her three companions continues to progress. I really like the companions and the relationship that the four of them have together. I'm hoping that the new Doctor's wardrobe gets a little better because I really didn't like her outfit last season, but that's minor. That's nitpicky. I'm not gonna, have a major grump about that. What else is going on? Speaking of strong women in science fiction, this time we'll move back to the Marvel Universe because so many things happen in the Marvel Universe, that's just constant news coming out of there. And this is that there is a first trailer for Black Widow, the solo film. I saw on Facebook today, one of my friends posted a reference to this, and I think his comment was about damn time. So I know at least one person who is excited for this. Let's see. So Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, is getting her own solo movie. Black Widow is set after the events of Captain America Civil War, just to put it in the timeline for Marvel movies, stories, etc. It's a time where all the Avengers had to do some self-reflection on what being a superhero really meant, and one that put Natasha Romanoff into a crisis of self-reflection. As Scarlett Johansson explained in an interview with Vanity Fair, "We just wrapped Black Widow like 2 weeks ago or something like that, so it's very fresh in my mind, and I don't have the total perspective on it yet. It's a film about self-forgiveness, and it's a film about family. I think in life we sort of come of age many times, and you have these kind of moments where you're in a transitional phase, and then you move sort of beyond it. And I think in the Black Widow standalone film, I think the character is at, when we find her, a moment of real crisis. And throughout the film, by facing herself in a lot of ways and a lot of things that make her her, she actually kind of comes through that crisis on the other side, and we start to be able to reset where she's a more grounded, self-possessed person. So that's her journey. Well, I hope anyway." Again, that was a quote from Scarlett Johansson in an interview with Vanity Fair. Hints of that journey are seen in the trailer. Natasha tells Yelena Belova, who is played by Florence Pugh, "We have unfinished business. We have to go back to where it all started." And for Black Widow, part of going back is putting together a team that not only consists of Yelena, but Melina Vostokov, played by Rachel Weisz, and Alexei Shostakov, also known as the Red Guardian, played by David Harbour. And the trailer also gives us our first look at the film's big bad, the notorious Taskmaster. So there is that first glimpse. Black Widow will be opening May 1st, 2020, so you do have a few more months to wait, although 2020 is right around the corner. It's crazy how fast this year went by. Just whoosh. I'm pretty sure that New Year's was like a week ago, the last New Year's. It just feels like it was crazy fast. Are you excited for the new Black Widow standalone film? Are you intrigued to find out what Natasha's journey is going to look like and how this team is going to interact, and where this is going to take Black Widow in her character arc? Although, you're kind of backtracking in time, which can be a bit, you gotta keep it all straight in your head. So hopefully you're better at that than I am. As I've said before, I definitely need, a Marvel Universe for dummies. I need a very detailed synopsis of everything to keep it all straight. On that note, the Marvel Universe for dummies, that would be me. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about, obviously, more sci-fi news. We're going to turn our attention to Star Wars. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Sci-Fi Podcast, and I'll be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sci-Fi Podcast. Before the break, we talked about the return of Doctor Who and the return of Black Widow. Now we're going to turn our attention to, as I said, Star Wars. Have you been watching The Mandalorian on Disney Plus? If you haven't been watching The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, I'm sure, at least seen a million, possibly a billion, and that's maybe not even hyperbole, Baby Yoda theme memes. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. So many adorable pictures of Baby Yoda. So many adorable and weird and silly Baby Yoda memes. And now there's even crochet patterns. You can crochet your own Baby Yoda. I kind of want to do that if I had more time. That would be a lot of fun. I really need a Baby Yoda. I really need to crochet a Baby Yoda, I think. So, this story does not have to do with Baby Yoda. Sadly, it can't all be about Baby Yoda because it's called The Mandalorian, not Baby Yoda is adorable. But, according to this article on sciencefiction.com, in a blink and you'll miss it moment in the first episode of The Mandalorian, we saw a character who looked to be wearing the armor of Boba Fett, the most famous bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe. And I grew up with Boba Fett. I grew up with the original trilogy as my first point of Star Wars reference. Well, it was everybody's first point of Star Wars reference at that point. But, while no one has been making an official comment one way or another as to this potential cameo, director Dave Filoni was quick to neither confirm or deny this was Fett. So leaving it kind of up in the open. He also made it clear that for someone who, quote unquote, helped bring Darth Maul back to life, it would be hard for him to say it could never happen. Darth Maul came back. Why not Boba Fett? I mean, first of all, his armor went with him when he got eaten. When, he went into the maw of, the pit of oh wow. Oh, bad fangirl moment. At any rate, yeah, sorry. You're yelling at the podcast right now. I know you are. I'm so sorry. Let's have a quote. So, according to Filoni, interesting. I mean, there's always possibilities. I don't like to limit our storytelling in any way, and who knows? It would be really hypocritical for the guy who helped bring Darth Maul back to life after he got cut in half for me to say that somebody couldn't survive a Sarlacc pit. See, Sarlacc, I knew it was Sar. I was halfway there, sorry. But I don't know. I mean, anything's possible in Star Wars, and I think when fans love something, that's what really fuels the possibility and the believability. So who knows? But right now, we got Mando. I mean, I don't really know how the pit of Sarlacc works. He was wearing his armor, so maybe the digestive juices didn't digest him. Maybe the pit of Sarlacc just belched him back out, because you'd think that would give you indigestion to swallow that whole giant metal suit of armor. So it does sound like there is a possibility, maybe it's a remote possibility, I don't know, for Boba Fett to appear in The Mandalorian, not just armor that possibly looks like his. We may have already seen him. We may have already at least seen his armor. I don't know. But that is not a focus in this first season of The Mandalorian. Who knows? Who knows what might happen? And this article says that it feels almost too predictable to have Fett return at the end of the season, either as a new enemy or a mentor for Pedro Pascal's character. What are your thoughts? Do you want Boba Fett to return in The Mandalorian? Do you want to see that reappearance? Do you think it would be too much of a Glenn moment from Walking Dead? You know, when everyone thought Glenn was dead, but then he went under the dumpster. Lots of people were really upset about that. My husband included. We're not impressed with that particular life. Say it didn't do Glenn any good later on in life, but or show, whatever you want to say. Star Wars, another story, this time Rey related. Lawrence Kasdan has shared how Rey force grabbed Luke's lightsaber in Star Wars The Force Awakens. One of the more satisfying moments, some would say, near the end of Star Wars The Force Awakens was when Rey was able to force grab. I love that that's now a verb or a thing. She was able to force grab Luke Skywalker's lightsaber away from Kylo Ren. However, in retrospect, you have to wonder how she was able to do this when Ben Solo was trained by his uncle and has been practicing using the Force for years. As Yoda is famous for saying, do or do not, there is no try. This piece of advice and Kylo's lack of self-esteem were combined to make this moment happen. See, you just gotta be confident, not all angsty like Kylo Ren. The new detail came from a recent interview with Lawrence Kasdan, who co-wrote the film with director J.J. Abrams. And Kasdan said, Rey is full of the Force. You know that pretty early on. We've seen other demonstrations that she did earlier in the movie that she was in her. You know she's not unimportant. The saber flies into her hand because it belongs in her hand. While the secret to Kylo is that he's massively insecure. I don't think that's a secret. He wants to be Darth too, but he isn't because he's very conflicted about everything he wants. He wants to be that pure force of evil and power, but he's not purely any of that. I don't know what happens in Rise of Skywalker, but I'm sure that will continue to play out. He says right before that lightsaber, it belongs to me, he being Kylo Ren. So when it flies by him into her hand, everything he worries about is confirmed. And I don't know if you want to say poor Kylo. I mean, part of me sympathizes with him. Part of me just wants to kick him. I don't know. So, you know, it could be that Rey is powerful in the Force. I mean, she certainly has skills with very little training. I mean, she is obviously powerful, but it's not just that. It's also that Kylo is angsty and that he does not have the confidence to use his power. Interesting to see what happens in the new movie, which is coming out very soon. I already have my Yoda Christmas socks ready and raring to go to wear. We're going on Christmas Day. It's a tradition with some friends of ours. We go to the new Star Wars movie on Christmas Day, and it's one of my favorite Christmas traditions. My friend wears her Darth Vader pajamas, and this year I'll have Yoda Christmas socks. So we are, we're set to go. we spoke about Doctor Who at the beginning of this episode, and John Barrowman, who comes from the Doctor Who universe, he was on Torchwood, of course, and Doctor Who, and well, who knows how many other crossovers, because he's not a Time Lord, but he is a Time Lord, but he's not whatever. So, Torchwood. It turns out that he has had to cancel at least 2 shows of his current A Fabulous Christmas tour after suffering a neck injury and being rushed to the hospital. He announced on Instagram, "I'm devastated to tell you that due to a severe neck injury, which has made it impossible for me to sing and move, I've been rushed to hospital for a diagnosis. The doctors have advised me not to perform this weekend while I try and recover, so I've had to make the very difficult decision to cancel my performance at the Bristol Hippodrome on Saturday, November 30th, and at the SEC Armadillo, Glasgow on Sunday, 1st of December. I'm so disappointed and upset as I was looking forward to seeing you all. I feel I'm letting everyone down, but it's simply not possible for me to do the show in my current condition. We have thankfully managed to open the Oxford New Theatre concert Saturday, 14th of December for Bristol audience members to transfer to, and we have managed to move the Glasgow date to Tuesday, 3rd December, so I really hope you will be able to still see me. Have a fabulous Christmas. All my love, John." Captain Jack, yes, take your time, recover. Don't do anything silly. As he stated, he was forced to cancel his concerts, but he then updated his fans later when he was headed back to the hospital for an MRI. I posted a picture saying, heading to hospital for an MRI scan on my neck. I'll keep you all posted on my progress. Bless you all, and thanks for your good wishes, JB. He then stated that the root of the issue had been found, a C5-6 facet joint injury. He stated that he had not been given injections to reduce inflammation and pain, and expressed hope that his tour would be back on schedule and he would be able to appear at his previously scheduled for Manchester, and that he'd moved his Glasgow date to Tuesday night, December 3rd. Yes, so Captain Jack, you need to be careful. You need to recover. Neck injuries of any kind are nothing to play around with. So he'll, I'm sure, continue to update on social media as he continues. And I know he's been other things. He's been in Arrow. He recently filmed the pilot for Glamorous for the CW, but to me, he'll always be Captain Jack. Let's go ahead and take our second break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll move from Star Wars to Star Trek, but in kind of an interesting sort of way. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Sci-Fi podcast, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sci-Fi podcast. As I mentioned before the break, we are now traveling to the Star Trek universe. We were in the Star Wars universe. Before that, we were in the Doctor Who and the Marvel universes. So many different universes. At any rate, this was posted. Somebody, one of my friends posted it on Facebook today, and it caught my attention because it's a picture of 3 dolls that are dressed as female, not dressed as, they are female Klingon warriors. You just don't see that very often on your Facebook page. At least I don't. Maybe your Facebook page is more interesting than mine. So it turns out that they are Klingon warrior dolls that used to be Monster High dolls. Artist Sumerian dolls, transformed into the female Klingon warriors, these previously heretofore Monster High dolls. Once in a while, when she is done with one, she lists it for sale via Etsy. So if you are interested, you can Google it and look at the pictures, and then you can maybe find them on Etsy. They are definitely female Klingon warriors, with all of their forehead ridges and crazy lots of hair. The eyes are a little weird because, of course, they are Monster High dolls and they're dolls, so they have those big doll eyes. The one with the blue eyes is particularly strange to me. She looks just kind of like blah, stop staring at me. She's staring into my soul. They have Klingon weapons. They have Klingon, outfits. Is outfit really the right word for a Klingon warrior? I guess, but they've got the body armor. They've got the cleavage, like Klingons do. Oh, there's even one in an actual Star Trek uniform. Nice. And she looks like she might be half and half like Worf, because she doesn't have quite as many forehead ridges. If there is a female Klingon Star Trek Starfleet officer that I just don't know about, I apologize. Stop yelling at the podcast. I'm sorry. At any rate, Klingon warrior dolls, Klingon female warrior dolls. I like it. I just think it's kind of fun. I don't know that I want one, but if I had a kid who was into Star Trek, I would certainly get him or her one of these dolls because they're cool. And the fact that somebody is making them and selling them on Etsy, I think is even cooler. I do not have that talent to take a Monster High doll and make it into anything besides a Monster High doll. And this person, I'm not sure. This person, let's just go with that, has turned them into female Klingon warriors. Very cool. I like it. Moving on. What else do we have in terms of sci-fi news? We've covered. Oh, hey, let's go to the DC universe. I just like to say universe. I'm sorry. And that is that DC Universe's Stargirl will air on the CW. The CW is really cashing in on the superheroes, aren't they? I mean, good for them. So this upcoming series, Stargirl, is also going to be carried on the CW, by the CW, however you want to say that. Episodes will air on the CW one day after they are released on DC Universe, and will be available to stream on the CW app one day after that. Rumors emerged in mid-October that the show might move entirely to the CW, but it looks like it will be shared between the two. So depending on how you watch things, if you have the DC Universe, you can watch it on streaming, or you can wait the day and watch it on CW. At San Diego Comic-Con this summer, it was announced that the existing DC Universe show Doom Patrol had been renewed for a second series, which will air concurrently on DC Universe and Warner Brothers' upcoming service HBO Max. That announcement has made many wonder if that meant that DC Universe was going to be shuttered with the launch of HBO Max. After all, it's $7.99 a month, which is $3 more than Disney Plus. So, Disney Plus happens to be, there's a lot more to watch on Disney Plus. So, people have kind of complained about that. One of the shows on there, Swamp Thing, has already been canceled. I mean, I think it was canceled like 2.5 minutes even into the first episode. I know it wasn't really that quick, but it seemed like it was. At any rate, Stargirl is expected to be released in the second quarter of 2020. It was crafted by Jeff Johns and based on the comic book character that he created. Johns also acts as the executive producer along with Greg Berlanti and Sarah Schechter. Melissa Carter acts as showrunner. Breck Basinger stars as the titular hero, also known as Courtney Whitmore. the Justice Society of America will also play a part. So if you aren't familiar with this story, it does follow the adventures of that high school student, Courtney Whitmore, who adopts a superheroic identity after finding the gear belonging to her new stepfather, who used to serve as a sidekick to the hero Starman. Along the way, Courtney runs afoul of villains of the past while inspiring others to take on the heroic tradition of the Justice Society. The cast includes Luke Wilson as Courtney's stepfather, Pat Dugan, who inspires Courtney to take on this identity, while Joel McHale will play Pat's former mentor, Starman / Sylvester Pemberton. Amy Smart, portrays Courtney's mother, Barbara. Trey Romano plays Pat's son, Mike. The cast also includes Meg DeLacy as Shiv / Cindy Berman, Lou Ferrigno Jr. as Hourman / Rex Tyler, Neil Hopkins as Sportsmaster / Lawrence Kroc, and many, many others. So is this a series that you're looking forward to? Is it part of the DC universe that you are excited to have brought to the small screen? Love to hear your answers to that in the comments. We are going to now wrap up this kind of girl-powered episode. I didn't really think about it as such when I was gathering stories, but except for John Barrowman, and John Barrowman and Captain Jack would not have issues with being grouped together with strong females. So I don't have a problem with that. But we've had Rey, we've had Doctor Who, we've had Black Widow, we've had Klingon warrior dolls, female Klingon warrior dolls. So lots of strong women in this sci-fi podcast episode, and I am cool with that. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Please join me next time, and we'll see what else is going on in the crazy world of science fiction. Thanks. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.